My grandparents passed away recently. I followed the guidelines my grandma set up for her final event. Her church, her burial plot, her casket, and the same for my grandpa. I just didn't expect it to be a joint funeral. I sent out the notifications to friends of theirs and family after the date was set in stone. Their friends all came, so did most of my grandma's church, but no family showed up. I wasn't surprised. I hadn't seen most of them in about 4 years. I had a great time with my grandparents' friends, and then I went back home and cried my heart out. I had been their sole caregiver, and I didn't know what to do without them. I had taken care of them for 15 years. It started with little things like lifting heavy objects and escalated to needing to change the bed twice a night sometimes. I was empty and started to scroll through my grandpa's Facebook to see pictures he posted before his memory went. I found a group started about 3 years ago that was being flooded with activity. When I went poking around, I found out it was my mother who was hosting a funeral at her church and was trying to get final expenses taken care of. I was stunned. Here was the woman I hadn't spoken to since throwing her out of the house for stealing jewelry and upsetting Grandma terribly by using her Alzheimer's against her. How could you forget my birthday? You promised to give me this. I went to the funeral my mother had planned and listened to the pastor, and then my mother got up to talk. She told everyone how hard it was taking care of them, and something inside me roared to life. I don't remember everything I said, but it did include that she didn't pay for anything for them. Not their caskets, not their burial plots, not their cremation, nothing. I told everyone I put them to rest at the funeral Grandma planned herself 4 days prior. I said she'd never paid for any of their care or even seen them for 4 years. I was asked to leave and drove home. Later, a cousin asked me if what I said was true, and when I said it was and I could provide proof, they explained my mother had been taking funds from the family for years to pay for their care at a facility because they had outlived their insurance policy. They also explained I got a lot of people in trouble because somewhere in the speech I shouted, I had done it all alone for years without any help. A lot of family members used my grandparents as an excuse to get out of work and had invited their co-workers to the funeral. By hearing my outburst, they were now in trouble for lying as for the reasons to leave work or miss days. She then went on to ask me about the inheritance and when that would be passed out. I told her that if anyone had earned the inheritance, it had already been taken care of. I thought I was in the right, but now I'm doubting myself after so many cousins and family members are calling to tell me I handled it really poorly. Am I the idiot? Did I handle this badly? Everyone's telling me I did. Update, thank you all. I felt I was the jerk because of how badly I reacted at the memorial service my mother held. It was very far out of character for me. I am usually very quiet, and I don't talk too often, much like my grandpa. I screamed at them, I cried, I waved my arms, and made an absolute spectacle of my grief. I feel so embarrassed by how I argued and carried on. Several family members are asking questions and seem genuinely bewildered by the circumstances. This happened on Sunday, and it's Friday now. I am still feeling as lost as I did at first. One of my uncles did lose his job. That was confirmed earlier. He had multiple schemes going on at his workplace with a need for a medical lift bed for Grandma, and got his coworkers to donate around $8,000 in total. The gossip queens that attended the funeral told everyone Monday morning, and by Monday afternoon he was in trouble with HR. This wasn't the only way he tried to earn funds. There are at least 2 others I know about from his son. His son, my cousin, is furious with his dad and my mom. He and several other cousins of mine are suing my mother for taking funds from them. They thought they were helping pay for 24-hour care at assisted living facilities. Every month, my mother was collecting between $2,000 and $9,000 from family members. She would lament to them how hard and soul-crushing it was to see such strong people just staring vacantly off into space, how they were unresponsive. But this wasn't true. My cousins apologized for not reaching out to me, but I'm not very close with anyone in my family. Some of you guessed it in the DMs, but yeah, I was an affair baby. I came out wrong, and my mother's husband divorced her over it. The people I was closest to growing up were my grandparents. It's bad enough that some of the cousins forgot I was a family member at all. It's a huge mess. They're apologizing, but I just don't want anything to do with them. Grandpa's business is not worth millions, but it pays the bills. It's a handyman company. My family is asking about the company, how everything is going there, and I'm putting up a stony face. It's not the family business, it's mine, and it has been for years. All of the employees respect me because I treat them the same way Grandpa did. I do still mess up some things that they tease me for. It's a very friendly place to work. One of Grandpa's properties is just a fenced-in yard with covered storage for the different projects. It's right next to the business property and is just where we work on remodeling old RVs or turning vans into RVs. We have a few friends parked there too, but it's just a dirt lot with gravel, a fence, and a cover. There are some security cameras there and so far no issues. I thought I would give an overall update and just thank you all for the support. I've felt so lost, and I really did think I was TA for exposing them. Jobs are important and hard to come by out here, and it's not just going to affect them. It's going to affect their partners, their children, and even their pets. I feel most guilty about who else exposing them affected. Thank you, I really didn't expect this to blow up like it did. I'm going to keep reading and responding to comments. Thank you all again. This has been so incredible. I was never supposed to be angry about anything, but seeing all the comments cussing out my family has been more cathartic than I can express. Thank you. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the jerk. Hire a probate attorney, ASAP. If they left anything at all behind, hire a probate attorney, and I mean anything at all. Having trouble accessing a bank account? That's because your power of attorney, if you had one, is void now that they are gone. Some banks are nice, some require probate. They had a house, probate, find the wills. If they had things like a house and bank accounts you can no longer access and no wills, the best you can do is get an attorney, or your mother can and will try to take everything as a direct heir. Mess with her plans. Search NALA.org, National Association of Elder Law Attorneys, to find someone in your area to help you. I'm so sorry for your loss. You have enough on your plate. Get an attorney to lighten the load. Just call. You'll eventually find someone like me who will be sad with you and know everything you need to do. It gets better, I promise. Comment 2. Not the jerk. I'm honestly not entirely sure how you could have handled that better without being ignored. Your family members created these situations for themselves and now must deal with the consequences. I mean, most, if not all of them, came to their actual funerals. You handled everything both for their care over the last 15 years and in their passing. And that's probably been very hard for you, especially if you don't have any support yourself. I hope you do. Be kinder to yourself, you're grieving and will need some time to heal. If you need someone to talk to, feel free to DM me. Now, for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for reading my last post and for all the support you've given me. It's been a tough few days since the joint funeral for my grandparents and the confrontation with my mother at her own memorial service for them. On Monday, I received a call from my cousin who informed me that my uncle had lost his job due to the schemes he had been running at his workplace. Apparently, he had been collecting donations from his coworkers, claiming that he needed funds for a medical lift bed for Grandma. The gossip queens who attended the funeral spread the word about my outburst, and by Monday afternoon, my uncle was in trouble with HR. It turns out that this wasn't the only way he tried to earn money dishonestly. My cousin, along with several others, is now suing my mother for taking funds from them under the pretense of paying for 24-hour care at assisted living facilities for my grandparents. Every month, my mother was collecting between $2,000 and $9,000 from various family members, telling them how difficult and heartbreaking it was to see my grandparents in such a state. However, none of this was true, as I had been their sole caregiver for the past 15 years. My cousins apologized for not reaching out to me earlier, but the truth is, I'm not very close with anyone in my family. As some of you guessed in the DMs, I was an affair baby, and when I came out wrong, my mother's husband divorced her over it. Growing up, my grandparents were the people I was closest to, and the situation is so bad that some of my cousins even forgot I was a family member at all. Amidst all this chaos, my family has been asking about my grandpa's business, which is a handyman company. They seem to think it's a family business, but the truth is, it's been mine for years. The employees respect me because I treat them the same way Grandpa did, although I still mess up some things occasionally, which they tease me about. It's a very friendly place to work. One of Grandpa's properties is a fenced-in yard with covered storage for different projects, located right next to the business property. It's where we work on remodeling old RVs or converting vans into RVs. We also have a few friends parked there, but it's just a dirt lot with gravel, a fence, and a cover, along with some security cameras. So far, there haven't been any issues. I wanted to give you all an overall update and express my gratitude for your support during this difficult time. I felt so lost, and I genuinely thought I was the jerk for exposing my family's wrongdoings. I know that jobs are important and hard to come by out here, and my actions will not only affect those directly involved, but also their partners, children, and even their pets. That's what I feel most guilty about. Thank you all again for your incredible support. I never thought I was supposed to be angry about anything, but seeing all the comments calling out my family's behavior has been more cathartic than I can express. I'm going to keep reading and responding to your comments. Your kindness and understanding mean the world to me. Am I the idiot for keeping photos of my late wife in our home, despite my new wife and in-laws complaining? I, 46-year-old male, have 2 children, Fia, 13-year-old female, and Kale, 10-year-old male. Their mom died 5 years ago in a car crash. We had been married at the time, but only legally. For the last 3 years of her life, we were pretending to still be together and we stayed married. But it was all pretending for the kids. We did not want to divorce for our kids' sake. Both of us came from divorced families and what I consider broken homes because of how badly our parents handled the divorces. We didn't want that for the kids. We feared we couldn't do better. The end result was us hating each other. It ran deep, too. I regret that now. The last words we exchanged were not kind. Our kids deserved better than that. Better than having parents who hated each other because we were so afraid to divorce. So after she died, I was determined to let go of all that hate, and I was determined to make sure the kids knew they were loved by both parents and were not burdened by the issues we had. Their mom and dad both love them. I truly believe their mom's love still exists for them, and they deserve to know that love. That was what I focused on, so I saved everything of hers for them. It's all stored safely for them one day. And a couple of years after she died, I did remove most of the photos of our married life, but I let the kids keep 2 photos of their choice out in the open in common areas of the house. The rest are either in their room or stored for them with the rest of her stuff. My kids love and miss their mom so much, and it brings them comfort to have her photos out. I make sure they can always talk about her or ask questions. They also have a very close relationship with the 3 siblings she spoke to. This is my children's home above all, and I make sure it always feels that way. When I met my wife, I remarried last year. I told her about the photos and said a partner of mine needed to accept this. She did. We got married. Nobody has taken the photos of my kids and their mom down, but my in-laws do have a problem, and maybe they're speaking on behalf of my wife and she's not open. I'm still figuring that out. They were staying with us over the weekend, and during a dinner, they questioned my kids about keeping the photos out when my wife now lives with us. My kids said they like having photos of their mom they can see in the house. My in-laws began to say that it was inconsiderate of my wife, and they should not be in common areas when I stepped in and shut them down. I told them that this is still my children's home too, and part of that is displaying photos of their mom in their home where they can be seen. I told them it did not need to be discussed more. The following day, my in-laws said I had no reason to be so rude, and I had an unhealthy attachment to keeping their mom present in their lives when she's dead. They told me they should be allowed to question things about their daughter's home, and I overreacted. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. Your current wife knew that they would stay up. It kind of seems like your in-laws are trying to erase your late wife from existence, which is not okay. You were completely right to shut it down. If you were nicer about it, they might have just kept pushing. I would make sure that they know if they are uncomfortable with it, they don't have to come back to your house, but the pictures are not coming down. And if it is coming from your wife through them, she should have decided it wasn't okay with her, and she should have moved on, not get upset later down the road and drag her family into it. Comment 2, not the idiot, 2. Not the... I think you are doing a brilliant job of respecting the love that your former wife had for your children, and of doing your best to give them what they need. You were right to be clear about the boundaries. Being curious. I would love to know why they think these photographs shouldn't be on display. It sounds as though they are threatened by their presence. If so, in my opinion, this is their problem, and they should examine their attitudes. It is perverse to wish to hide away the children's mother. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for reading my update. It's been a wild few days since I last posted. The day after the dinner incident with my in-laws, I had a heart-to-heart with my wife. She admitted that she had been feeling uncomfortable with the photos of my late wife being displayed in the common areas of our home. She said she understood why the kids wanted them there, but it made her feel like she was living in someone else's shadow. I realized I had been so focused on making sure my kids felt comfortable that I hadn't considered how it might be affecting my wife. We decided to have a family meeting with the kids to discuss the situation. During the meeting, I made the mistake of suggesting that we move the photos to the kids' rooms. Fia and Kale were both upset by this idea, and Fia accused me of trying to erase their mom's memory. I quickly backtracked and apologized, assuring them that was not my intention at all. After some more discussion, we came to a compromise. We would keep one photo of their mom in the living room, but the rest would be moved to the kids' rooms or stored safely with the rest of her belongings. The kids seemed okay with this solution, and my wife thanked me for being willing to find a middle ground. However, the next day, my in-laws showed up unannounced. They had heard about our family meeting from my wife and were not happy with the decision we had made. They accused me of still being hung up on my late wife and not fully committing to my new marriage. I tried to explain that it wasn't about that at all, but they wouldn't listen. Things escalated quickly, and before I knew it, we were in a full-blown argument. My father-in-law said some really hurtful things about my late wife, and I lost my temper. I told them to leave and not come back until they could respect my family's choices. After they left, I found Fia crying in her room. She had overheard the argument and was upset by the things my father-in-law had said about her mom. I comforted her as best I could, but I could tell she was really shaken up. Later that night, my wife and I had a long talk. She apologized for her parents' behavior and said she would talk to them about respecting our family's decisions. She also opened up about her own feelings of insecurity and how she sometimes worried that she would never measure up to my late wife in the kids' eyes. I reassured her that she was an amazing stepmom and that the kids loved her for who she was, not as a replacement for their mom. We both agreed that we needed to keep working on our communication and make sure we were always putting the kids' needs first. The next day, I took the kids out for a special day together, just the three of us. We went to their mom's favorite park and had a picnic, sharing happy memories of her. It was a bittersweet day, but I think it helped the kids feel closer to their mom and reminded them that her love is still with them, even if she's not physically here. In the end, I realized that navigating blended family dynamics is never easy, but it's so important to keep an open and honest dialogue with everyone involved. I'm still learning and growing as a parent and a husband, but I'm committed to doing my best for my family. Thanks for reading, everyone. I appreciate all the support and advice. Am I the idiot for cutting off my wife's family after they judged me for my foster kid background? I, 34-year-old male, got married 9 years ago to my wife Jessica, 33-year-old female. Jessica and I have 2 children, Robin, 7-year-old female, and Theo, 5-year-old male. Growing up, I didn't have a family. I was a foster kid who was bounced around a lot because sometimes my biological mother would take me back, but she'd always end up losing custody again or placing me back. When she finally stopped trying, I was 11 and too old for most people who wanted babies or really little kids. So I aged out of the system without being adopted or finding a family. I had hoped when Jessica and I met that I'd be welcomed by her family, but that's not how it went. It took me years to figure it out, though. They look down on me. They're not totally obvious about it, but I see it in the way they are with me versus the way they're with the other sons' daughters-in-law. Like asking them about Christmas plans but saying they didn't expect us to do anything else because I don't have a family, or asking about the others' jobs and promotions but never me, then acting so shocked both times Jessica or I mentioned I was promoted. There was a time when my sister-in-law mentioned a foster kid who won a scholarship to college, and it made it into the local news. The whole family's reaction was, "Oh wow, a foster kid making it to college is so unexpected." And Jessica pointed out I went to college. They looked a little uncomfortable, and I heard 2 of her siblings whisper something about Jessica and that story. So I assume they believed she lied about where we met. They don't make an effort for my birthday. They make assumptions that I don't spend time with my kids. They assume any effort made by me is me doing it for Jessica, and don't believe me when I say it's not. Yet they will always ask for my help with repairs around the house or assembling something, because I'm good at that stuff. I have helped Jessica's parents and all her siblings at least twice. Once I realized, with help from therapy, that they really didn't like me and seemed to think less of me for being a foster kid. I did that stuff for Jessica and not for them. But then, a few weeks ago, Jessica's parents had issues with the stairs. I went and fixed them up. I was working for hours on one part and had to go and get extra materials. It was a whole thing. Some of the family came over while I was there, and Jessica's parents made food for them. But nothing for me. When I asked them if there was any for me, they told me they didn't think I'd want to eat after working so hard, for hours, with no food in between. I told them they didn't think that. They simply didn't want to be polite to me and offer food after doing all that work for them. I was called out by Jessica's parents and her siblings. Jessica took my side, as did some of the siblings' spouses. But I was called out again for not helping fix a shelf for one of Jessica's sisters and saying never again would I help any of them. They said family helps family. I asked them when they ever treat me like family. Am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You're not a husband or Jessica's partner. You're a built-in handyman, and that's all they'll ever look at you at. The hired help. You should tell Jessica that she can keep in all the contacts you want from their family, but you need to go very low contact or no contact at all with them. And that's it. Maybe one holiday a year, and that's about all I would do. And if they ever ask for help again, say my hourly rate is $500 an hour, and I need 3 hours up front. Not the idiot. Comment 2. I asked them when they ever treat me like family, not the idiot. Fair question. Fair. They have demonstrably treated you as other than family for years, and they need to put their money where their mouths are and actually treat you like a human to start. Treating you as family would also be nice. Why they have such fool prejudices is beyond me. You've done nothing, and they are the jerks. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for all the comments and support on my last post. It's been a tense couple of weeks since then, and I've got quite the update for you. After the whole fiasco with Jessica's family, things were pretty tense. Jessica and I had a long talk about everything that's been going on. She admitted that she's noticed the way her family treats me differently, but she never wanted to rock the boat. I get it, they're her family, but it still hurts. We decided to take a step back from them for a bit, just to give ourselves some space. But of course, that didn't last long. Jessica's sister, the one whose shelf I refused to fix, apparently took it as a personal slight. She started spreading rumors around the family that I was lazy and didn't care about anyone but myself. It was ridiculous, considering all the times I've bent over backwards to help them out. When Jessica confronted her about it, she played the victim, saying she was just concerned about our marriage. That's when things really blew up. Jessica's parents called a family meeting, demanding that we all sit down and hash things out. I was dreading it, but Jessica insisted we go. She said she was done letting her family walk all over me. The meeting was a disaster. Jessica's parents started in on me right away, saying I was being selfish and ungrateful. They brought up all the times they've included me, like inviting us over for holidays and birthdays. But they conveniently left out all the snide comments and backhanded compliments. I tried to stay calm, but it was hard. I pointed out all the times I've gone out of my way to help them, only to be treated like an outsider. I reminded them that I've never once asked for anything in return, but a little respect would be nice. That's when Jessica's dad lost it. He started yelling about how I was a troubled kid and that they'd only put up with me for Jessica's sake. He said I should be grateful they even let me into their family at all. I was stunned. I knew they looked down on me, but I never thought they'd say it to my face. Jessica was furious. She told her dad that if he couldn't accept me, then he couldn't be a part of our lives. She grabbed my hand and we walked out, leaving her family in shocked silence. Since then, things have been tense. Jessica's mom has reached out a few times, trying to smooth things over, but Jessica is standing firm. She says she's done letting her family treat me like a second-class citizen. As for me, I'm still processing everything. It hurts to know that my wife's family will never truly accept me, but at the same time, I'm grateful to have Jessica by my side. She's shown me what real family is supposed to be like. We're taking things one day at a time. We've been spending more time with our kids, just enjoying being a family. Robin and Theo don't really understand what's going on, but they know that Mommy and Daddy love each other very much. I've also been thinking a lot about my own childhood. Growing up in foster care, I never had a real family. I bounced around from home to home, never feeling like I belonged anywhere. It's part of the reason why I've always tried so hard to be accepted by Jessica's family. But I'm starting to realize that I don't need their approval. I have a family of my own now, and that's what matters. Jessica, Robin, and Theo are my world, and I'll do anything to protect them. So that's where things stand now. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but we're getting through it. I know there will be more challenges ahead, but I'm ready to face them head on. With Jessica by my side, I know we can handle anything. Anyway, thanks for listening. It helps to know that there are people out there who understand what I'm going through. I'll keep you all updated on how things go from here. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.